The Pope has urged an end to fighting in Syria during his annual Christmas address at the Vatican. The pontiff said far too much blood has been spilled during the conflict and encouraged the international community to seek a solution. With me now, Abdulaziz Al-Mashi, who's the co-founder of the Syria Solidarity Movement and Solidarity with Refugees. He's also a refugee himself, having arrived in the UK in 2009. You're a Muslim yourself, but Christmas is very much celebrated in Syria, isn't it?
Yes, in Syria, Christmas is an official holiday, and in Aleppo, where I come from, we have a big Christian communities, and I still remember every Christmas, the Christmas lights all over the city, and there is like a kind of celebration all over the country in this holy occasions.
We can only imagine what it must be like, but what sort of Christmas are people facing with the fighting, being displaced from their homes? I mean, what conditions are they having to endure?
Well, the situation in Syria is absolutely bad. In Aleppo, for example, where we have a big Christian community, there has been no Christmas celebration this year because of the evacuation of people from their homes, which took place recently, with the indiscriminate bombardment for hospitals and for populated residential areas, and with the imposed sieges on people, you know. So there has been absolutely nothing to call celebrations in the city. People have been kicked out of their homes, and now they are seeking somewhere to live within Syria. They have been displaced within their home country, unfortunately.
And how difficult is that going to be? Because you've got children uprooted from their homes. They probably haven't been educated for a fair while because of the conflict. How easy is it going to be to lay down new roots and feel safe?
It is absolutely hard, especially with the response of the international community towards the conflict in Syria and towards the refugee crisis as well. Like in Syria, in March, the conflict will enter its sixth year. And that means people in Aleppo and in many opposition-held areas, like children, haven't been able to go to schools. And this is a real problem for us and for the future of Syria. And if you look at the response of the international community towards the Syrian crisis, it has been absolutely shameful. I mean, the shame of the international community continues in Syria. And if you look at the refugees who managed to get out of Syria and came to Europe, we have like tens of thousands of refugees stranded in Europe, and including many minors who are an easy target for traffickers and the criminals. And the UK government and the European government failed to find a solution for such a crisis. So yes, we have a dictatorial regime in Syria carrying out massacres against the Syrian people with the help of the Russians and the Iranians and other sectarian militias. And then you have the silence of the international community, and you have the shameful response of the European nations towards the refugee crisis.
I mean, you speak from first-hand experience being a refugee yourself. What is your story?
Well, I came to the UK before the crisis. I came as a student, and when the Syrian revolution started back in 2011, I was inspired by the Arab Spring, and I know we had a dictatorial regime in Syria, so I participated in the peaceful demonstrations against the Syrian regime outside the Syrian embassy here in London. And because of my activism, my political activism against the Syrian regime, my passport was expired and my visa was expired, and I couldn't renew them because of my political activism. Because of that, I had no choice but to claim for asylum. Like, being a refugee doesn't feel great, to be honest with you, but desperate people in desperate situations make desperate decisions. And I am glad I had that right in that time, because if I didn't have the right to claim for asylum, I wouldn't be able to get a travel document and then travel to Turkey 4 years later to be reunited with my family. I remember when I left Syria, my little brother was just like, really little. And after 4 years, he was a grown-up man.
Your scarf is very festive, but it does have another meaning, doesn't it?
Yes, this is, we call it the freedom scarf. It is the Syrian Revolution flag, and it is the independence flag of Syria. And, you know, under this flag, so many people sacrificed their lives and paid a very heavy price for our freedom and for our dignity to fight both the brutality of a dictatorial regime and the fanatical ideology of ISIS. It is the Syrian Revolution.
I'm sure your hope for 2017 is peace. Thank you very much for coming in to speak to us, Abdulaziz Al-Mashi.